What's up, you guys? Welcome back to this week's Manga Sutra manga review, and in this week's video we're going to be talking about an historical drama called Ichigeki. Now, the manga starts off with a group of samurai who are conversing with one another, and the straggler of the group notices some sounds and turns around when he is confronted face to face with an armed assailant with a sword who is shouting, ready to slice him. Then we flash back 10 days ago. Now we're in this tiny village in which these two samurai are recruiting a bunch of peasants, and they're recruiting them through this competition in which they are awarded 300 coins for participating, 3,000 coins for winning, and 2 gold coins later down the line. Now we see that the competition is basically carrying a boulder or carrying some bag and running around a tree, and the first person to get to the line wins and advances, right? So we have our two characters, Yonekichi, a big, broad, overweight dude, and our main character, Ushiguro, who is short, stocky, muscular. Yonekichi is a bit simple-minded, but nice, protective of Ushiguro. Ushiguro is more calm, methodical. He likes to think. He likes to analyze the situations. We see that Yonekichi sees everybody competing and seeing everybody just sprint and all of that. And what it originally seems like is that this is a competition of brute strength and stamina. But Ushiguro sees it for what it really is. It's about being able to outlast your opponent. It's about being able to wisely use your strength. All of these guys are trying to brute force their way around the tree into the finish line, and these guys collapse. Some of the most toned, some of the most physical, some of the most well-conditioned guys in the village, and they're just fainting and collapsing, some even dying on the spot, right? But Ushiguro, he's telling Yonekichi, walk, take your time, don't go as fast as you can until you get to the tree, and when you turn around the tree, sprint as hard as you can. And Yonekichi's like, I'm gonna lose, bro. And Ushiguro's like, trust me, I got you, this is a good strategy. Yonekichi does it. At first the other guy's leading in front, and Yonekichi's kind of bummed out and frustrated. But once they get around the tree, the other guy is starting to lose steam. He's starting to move slower. Yonekichi, although he's overweight and he's a big, tall guy, he's starting to catch up. Then Yonekichi beats him. Ushiguro's turn comes up, right? Ushiguro's going up against this big, tall, hulking Goliath dude that's supposed to be the most impressive physical specimen of the village. Ushiguro is undaunted. All right, now he does have some doubts as to whether he's going to be faster, but he's undaunted. He proceeds to sprint. He proceeds to go through the whole thing. Then once he gets around the tree, he notices that this guy is beating him, but he's trying to keep up. He's keeping up, but the other guy is inching a little bit further forward. Ushiguro throws his bag across the line and into the circle. And the big guy, he's like, that's cheating. He didn't cross the line. He didn't put it into the circle himself. But one of the samurai says, according to the rules of the competition, the first one to get around the tree and put the bag into the circle wins. They didn't explain how you had to get into the bag. You just had to get it in the bag. Now, of course, this upsets the Goliath, right? But Ushiguro gets through. And when the Goliath tries to beat up Ushiguro and tries to brutalize him, and then turns around and gets mad at the samurai for interrupting, the samurai cuts him down in cold blood. And he tells Ushiguro congratulations, and that concludes the contest for then. We see in the next chapter that Ushiguro and Yonekichi are at home. Ushiguro has a little sister, Chiyo, and a granny or an elderly woman there as well that's tending, and he takes care of them. He is the main caregiver, I guess, or he is the head of the household. But he has to go because the competition was to recruit people, and those who were recruited are supposed to leave for a further job. And when it comes to this is where they get the 2 gold, right? Now, Ushiguro is telling Chiyo that he'll be gone for a while. Chiyo is mentioning that she might have to work at a brothel. Ushiguro gets upset. He's telling her, no, you're not going to be working at a brothel, right? We see Yonekichi and Ushiguro set off for a certain location in which these two samurai have told them to meet them at. Now, the thing I like about this manga that we see is that all of these people that got recruited from these contests, there's about 10 of them. All of them. The ones that pass each and every contest from each and every separate village. Now, the two samurai, one of them Shimada and the other one Wada. I can't really remember his name because he's such of a supportive character, pretty much. He's such a support character in general. But Shimada and his co-samurai captain, I guess, they are training these peasants. They're training them in the art of attacking. They're going to teach them the way of the sword. Now, Shimada originally wanted to have a good 2 weeks to a month to train these peasants in how to hold a sword, how to use a sword, how to defend, how to parry, all of the proper sword techniques, all the basic sword techniques in order to make them an effective strike squad, right? Now, we see from Shimada's superiors that they don't have time for that, all right? They need a strike force now. So Shimada has to literally cut the training in half. He has to teach these 10 peasants how to use a samurai sword, how to wield a samurai sword, how to strike, all the proper techniques of killing someone in one single stroke, right? Now, so you understand why this strike squad is invented. There has been a certain faction within Japan, or within Edo, and they have been causing a lot of destruction and a lot of needless violence. They've been killing traders, they've been killing merchants, they've been killing civilians, they have been burning places, they have just been vandalizing a lot of stuff and causing unrest within the capital. Now, the shogunate can't do anything to really clamp down on it, because if they use the full force of their military, public opinion is going to be against them, right? And they can't really definitively prove it that this faction is behind this stuff. So the higher ups in the shogunate have called for a secret strike group to take down this faction, or to at least strike at this faction and weaken them. So this is where our 10 peasants come in. All of them are supposed to be the one strike, one kill squad. They are not taught to defend. They are not taught to parry attacks or to block attacks. None of that. They are taught to attack their targets, to kill them in one strike, and go. They are supposed to be pure efficiency, or as efficient as 10 well-conditioned peasants who are taught to wield the sword and are finally recognized as samurai are supposed to be, right? Now, imagine yourself as this peasant. You just passed this contest. You got a lot of money. You got a lot of rewards coming your way. And you're getting told from your employer you're going to receive even more money the longer you stay on this job, right? And they're training you on how to use a sword. They're also giving you a significant status. These peasants are being now called samurai, all right? They're now received the rank of samurai. So now all of them that had to deal with this BS from samurai, abuse from samurai, as we see early on in the manga, where Yonekichi and Ushiguro and another friend of theirs is heading to the capital for this job. They come across samurai, and these samurai punch them in the face and beat them up and assault them, right? And the samurai do it for no other reason than the fact that these guys are peasants, and because they can. And now you, as a peasant who has just been physically assaulted by a samurai, you are now on equal footing. If you want to strike him down, you can strike him down, right? So this is a lot for them to take in. This is a lot of power going to these guys' heads. And there are a lot of rewards being thrown their way, but they don't know exactly what they're fighting for. They don't know exactly what the risks are. Even though these two samurai in front of them are telling them what the risks are and telling them they can leave now, You know, they don't really know what's in store for them. Now, there is a lot of symbolism in Ichigeki that I think contrasts with another historical martial arts manga, Vagabond. Vagabond is amazing. It is a phenomenal manga. Artwork in it is superb, 10 out of 10. And the plot and the story and the main characters and their development is phenomenal as well, right? We see a lot of growth and a lot of change in some of the main characters at the start and who they become later on. We see a lot of interesting antagonists and a lot of interesting protagonists going on along the way. But I think one thing that strikes me in Ichigeki that contrasts with Vagabond is in Vagabond we see in a lot of scenes that the sword is viewed as an extension of oneself, an extension of one's soul, and that one's person is the sword, you know, and that a sword is an instrument and that it doesn't have ill intent in and of itself. It's the person that wields it, right? Ichigeki kind of goes about something but from a parallel view. In Ichigeki, the one strike, one kill squad is like a sword, right? And we see this with Uchiguro and another antagonist in the manga where they parallel each other. Both of them serve a purpose, and that purpose is to kill. Both of them serve a purpose in which there might be no returning. There might be no going back. Where the sword, once it's bent, and this is a symbolism that the manga keeps throwing at you, a sword when it's bent is meant to be thrown away. It's meant to be discarded. It no longer serves a use. It can't be put back in its sheath. A sword that can't be put back in its sheath has no value, right? So we see like this big parallel or this big disparity between what we see in Vagabond about the sword being an instrument, an extension of oneself, and then in Ichigeki where swords are just being given away. You know, the samurai immediately give the peasants their own swords, and when Yonekichi bends a sword, the samurai just simply throws it away and says that it's bent, it has no use. And we see that these swords are really just a reflection of the one strike, one kill squad. As members of the squad meet their untimely demises and their untimely ends, they really serve no other purpose than to fulfill a mission. And the higher ups in the shogunate really never cared whether they were properly taught how to defend, whether they were properly taught how to use a sword. They didn't care if these guys lived or died. As long as they managed to take out a lot of people with them before they died, oh well, you know. We see throughout the manga that Ushiguro and Yonekichi and the other peasants, it was really up to them to teach themselves how to use the sword. It was up to them to train and spar. And we see Ushiguro doesn't really stop at just knowing how to strike. You know, he works on how to parry. He learns other techniques from Shimada. He learns other ways of fighting from Shimada. He learns about Iato. He learns about sensing killing intent. He learns a lot about this stuff, and he has a lot of inner reflection, you know. And we see some conflicts that arise where Ushiguro has to come to terms with feelings that he has are hard truths and experiences from his past. And there are antagonists within the manga, and we also see the changing of the times, right? In Ichigeki, guns are now becoming a thing. Muskets, rifles, pistols, they are now becoming a thing. So the way of the samurai is now becoming an obsolete thing. And we see this later on in the manga at some point where it is a big deal, where the one strike, one kill squad is really facing a heavy dose of reality. That the way things are changing, you know? And the impact of what they do, the impact of, you know, the mission of their entire squad, the whole purpose they serve, is starting to affect them mentally, right? I'd say that Ichigeki is a phenomenal manga. I'd say the artwork is a bit simplistic, but it is very sharp. It's very angular. It is almost like scribbles a little bit. I do love it. In certain panels, they do have a lot of detail to the characters. Like at the start of the manga, we see in that panel where we see the assailant, who is now Ushiguro. We see a lot of detail in him. We can see the veins in his arms. We can see the clenching of his face. We pretty much see different characters. The only complaints I would have as far as the art style is that outside of Ushiguro and Shimada, a lot of the characters do look the same, and a lot of the characters are hard to distinguish from one another outside of certain peculiar features. We even see certain characters having similar, if not identical, styles to each other, and some of those similar identical character styles are to elicit emotional responses from the main character, are to prove certain points, you know. But as far as like, you know, character models, there's a lot of them that kind of look the same. In general art styles, the greater panels of the manga, the gruesomeness, the goriness, the brutality, the in-your-face bloodshed, I like it. I like it. I think it's a good manga. The plot is really good. I really followed the plot to see how the one strike, one kill squad would go, how it would be, what the characters would have to go through, right? And how this sudden change in luck would affect them. And I'm very happy with how it's gone. You know, the manga isn't over yet. Like, I'm so far 36 chapters in, so I am invested. I am invested in this. I would recommend you read Ichigeki. And this video is 17 minutes long. I'm nervous because I've really been putting off making this video because I didn't know what to say, but 17 minutes long. I hopefully didn't bore you. Please like and please subscribe. Comment what you like about Ichigeki if you've read it, or, you know, give it a read so far, 2 chapters in, maybe 3 chapters in, then come back and comment what you like. If you want to show some support for the channel and keep up these Manga Sutra manga reviews, then become a member. The lowest tier is 99 cents a month. It costs you nothing, and I'm gonna start pretty much making a list of my members and giving them shout outs at the end of my videos. So hopefully you see another video. Enjoy.